Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. If you're a new viewer, please do well to subscribe. And if you're a regular fan, I'm sure you will be interested in this video. In today's video, we'll be learning how to draft, how to draft a basic bodice block or a basic bodice pattern, anyone. And trust me, it is beginner friendly and it actually works for all sizes. And mind you, I'll be using this basic block to draft out my corset and bustier pattern during the course of the year. So yeah, let's dive into the video. So for this tutorial, what we'll be using is your ruler, your rulers, pencil, scissors, tape measure, and your marker. So let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is to draw a straight line. Draw a straight line from above like this. You draw a straight line across and label it the shoulder line. Here is the shoulder line. And the next thing is to take all your horizontal measurements. For this tutorial, I'll be making use of my measurements so as you can make use of yours. So the first thing is to measure your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So we'll be putting your shoulder measurement divided by 2. You mark it here. And the next thing is shoulder to bust. Shoulder to bust measurement for me is 10 inches. So I'll mark 10 inches like this. 10 inches like this. And shoulder to under bust for me is 13 inches. So I'll mark 13 inches like this and like this. And shoulder to waist measurement for me is 16 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 16 inches like this. So shoulder to hemline, which is your blouse measurement, depending on your preference. For me, I like my blouse to be 23 inches. I don't like it too long. So I'll be marking 23 inches like this. 23 inches like this. So I'll go ahead and draw across the lines. And remember, don't forget to label all the lines you draw across so as not to make a mistake when drafting. So for this is my bust point, bust measurement on the bust, and this is my waistline, and I'll label this my M line. The next thing we have to do here is come down by 1 inches from the shoulder line. Go in by 3 inches on the neck, on the shoulder line like this. You go in by 3 inches and come down by 3 inches as well, which will serve as the neckline. Actually, this is the basic neckline. So you come in by 3 inches and come down by 3 inches as well, the basic neckline. So you draw like this. Here is the neckline, and draw across like this as well for the shoulder slope. Yes. So after doing this, the next thing we have to do is you divide your bust measurement divide by 6. Bust measurement divide by 6 depending on your bust measurements. So for me, it's 6 inches. So for me, it's 6 inches. 6 inches plus 1 inch, which will give me 7 inches. So from my shoulder slope, I'll be coming down by 7 inch. Like this. Then I draw a straight line to make reference. Draw a straight line downward. So the next thing we're going to do is to divide the straight line into 2. We are going to divide this straight line into 2 and mark. Divide the straight line into 2 and mark. So from the middle point, we have to come in by half an inch for the armhole to be balanced. You go in by half an inch. So before drafting out your armhole, the next thing you have to do is to divide your bust measurement by 4 and mark along the point of the 7 inches. So you divide your bust measurement by 4 and mark. So I have mine like this. Then you have to draw across to make reference. So what I'm doing now is to draw across and label it your chest line. So this is your chest line. So now after labeling it your chest line, the next thing you have to do is to bring out your armhole. Draft out your armhole. So you're going like this as you see me doing. You're going like this as you see me doing. You connect the lines together. So the next thing we have to do is the dart intake, taking in our dart. So when taking in your darts, mind you, darts are always taken on the waistline. Dart intake are always done on the waistline. Dart intake are always done on the waistline. So when taking your darts, what you have to do is to divide your bust span to bust span measurement into 2. You divide your bust span measurement into 2. Bust span measurement is also known as the nipple to nipple measurement for those that don't know. So your nipple to nipple measurement is what you'll be taking down now from the center front. So for me is 3.5. So I'll be marking 3.5 here, 3.5 right here, and 3.5 on the waistline, 3.5 as well on the M line. So now we'll draw across. We'll draw a straight line across. We'll draw down a straight line. So this is it. Mind you, as I said earlier, that intake are always taken on the waistline. So now for me, I'll come in by 0.75. 0.75 because I'm not that busty. But for those that are busty, they might decide to come in by 1 inch. For me, I'm coming in by 0.75 on the waistline, 0.75 on the right hand side, 0.75 on the left hand side. So after doing that, on the M line, you might decide to come in by 3 inch or 2 inch. But for me, I would like to come up by 2 inch, which will be where my dart leg will be starting from. I would like to come in by 2 inch, which I've marked here. So now the next thing to do is to connect your dart leg together. So you connect your dart leg together like this. Same thing below. So this is our dart. We've taken in our dart. So the next thing we have to do now is to take all the measurements required. So on the chest line, bust measurement divided by 4. This is it, bust measurement divided by 4. And on the waistline, your waist measurement divided by 4 as well. Waist measurement divided by 4. And come in and measure your dart. Whatever you get on your dart measurement, you have to replace it back after the main measurement. I don't know if you understand. Whatever you get as your dart intake, you have to replace back after marking your base measurement. So we'll have to replace this dart intake measurement right after here. So I'm replacing it here. And on the M line, your hip measurements divide by 4 is what you mark on your M line. Your hip measurements divide by 4. So hip measurement divide by 4. And now what you have to do is to just connect those lines together. So we have to connect these lines together like this. Like this. Like this. So you label this as the front bodice. So after doing this, the next thing we have to do is to take a side dart, a bust dart. The reason for taking this bust dart is because if you can remember, when measuring my shoulder to waist measurement, I said my shoulder to waist measurement in front is quite different from my shoulder to waist measurement at the back, which will be the reason why we will be needing a side or bust dart. So right now, my shoulder to waist measurement in front is 16 inches and my shoulder to waist measurement at the back is 14 inches, which is obviously 2 inches different. So what we'll be doing now is to take a 2 inches measurement, 2 inches measurement from the bust line downward. Take a 2 inches measurement from the bust downward like this. After marking this, you draw across to the bust line. This is your bust. This is your bust dart. You get to understand this better when I'm about to draw the back bodies. So these are for the front bodies. Now, after doing all of this, we'll have to cut out the block. This is the front bodies. This is how it will look after everything. So now on the back bodies, all the measurement taken on the front bodies is quite similar to the back bodies as well. So we'll just go directly and take all the measurements right back. The shoulder line, remember? The shoulder line. Shoulder to bust point. Yeah, same thing for back bodies as well. Shoulder to bust point is 10 inches for me. 10 inches. When you get here, like I said earlier, my shoulder to waist measurement at the back is quite different from shoulder to waist measurement in the front. So right here, my shoulder to waist measurement at the back is 14 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 14 inches here. 14 inches. 14 inches. So I'll just go ahead and draw a straight line across. So now before going ahead to place other measurements, what you have to do here is to measure the inches you have Down from the waistline to the hemline, you have to measure the inches you have so as to get the correct length, so as to get the correct length for both the back and the front bodies. So you will go ahead and measure the inches you have, the difference from the waistline in the front to the hemline. And I have 7 here. This is it. I have 7 inches here. So I've measured, and now I'm going to replace back the measurement, the inches right here on the back bodice. And I will as well draw a line across. This is it. So the next thing you have to do here is to divide your shoulder measurement, divide by 2. Your shoulder measurement divide by 2 is mine here. And for the neckline, you come out by 3 inches, same as we do on the front bodies, and you go down by 1 inch. Yeah. Back neckline is always, basic back neckline is always higher than the front neckline. As you can see, this is the difference. Here's the difference. It's always higher than the front neckline. So I will just go ahead and create my neckline here like this, just like this. So this is it. So after doing so, the next thing you have to do is to come down by 1 inches. To come down by 1 inches from the shoulder line, coming down by 1 inches, and draw your shoulder slope. Yeah, this serves as your shoulder slope. Remember, we divided bust measurement divided by 6, which we get, which makes us have 6 inches plus 1 inches, 7 inches for the shoulder length. So what we have to do here is to just draw a straight line to indicate. We draw a straight line to indicate. And this point here gives us our chest line. It serves as our chest line. You draw across and label chest line, bust line, waistline, and line. So by so doing, you divide this line here divided by 2. You divide it by 2 equal parts and mark. At that same point, you have to go in by half an inch. You go in by half an inch at that same middle point and create your armhole. Create your armhole. You connect to create your armhole. So after doing this, the next thing you have to do is to go create our dart, the dart intake. Same thing the way we did for the front bodies. The only difference is that intake on the back bodies is starting from the chest line. If you could remember, that intake on the front bodies is starting from the bust line. Meanwhile, for the back is quite different. You're starting from the chest line. So we'll just go in. Nipple to nipple measurement divide by 2, 3.5 inch on the chest line, 3.5 inch on the bust line, 3.5 inch on the waistline, and 3.5 inch on the hem line as well. So after doing this, you just go ahead and connect these lines together. You connect the points together with a straight line. Connect the points together with a straight line. So after doing this, remember I said that intake is always done on the waistline. That intake is always done on the waistline. So remember I go in the front bodice by 0.5 inches because I'm not that busty. So I'm going by 0.5 inches, and for this side as well 0.5 inches. For those that are busty, they might decide to come out by 1 inch for those that are busty. But if you know you're not busty, 0.5 inches is quite okay. So what we have to do now is to come up from our M line. You come up by 2 inches, just as I did on the front bodice, on the front block. I come up by 2 inch. You might decide to go up more like 3 inch, but I decided to go in by 2 inches for mine. So you mark. The next thing we have to do is to connect our. So this is the dart. So after taking the dart, the next thing you have to do is to just take your body measurement. Your bust measurement divided by 4, remember? You mark. Your waist measurement divided by 4, remember? You mark. And mark your dart intake. Marking your dart intake and replace it. You mark your dart intake and replace it after the base measurement. Dart intake is 1.5, so I replace it here so as to get the same measurement after taking in the dart. Your hip measurement divided by 4, you mark. So we just have to connect now. All you have to do is to just connect these lines together like this. Connect the lines together. You connect together. Perfect. So after doing this, what we have to do is to just cut out. So after doing this is the way it looks. After cutting out, this is the way it looks. We label the back bodies. This is the back bodies, this is the way it looks, and this is the front bodies. This is the way it looks. Actually, yours might be a little bit curvier than this, maybe curvy than this. It's because of my own measurement. I'm not that busty, and my waistline as well is tiny. So for most people, it might be curvy more than this. So this is the way mine actually looks like. So after doing this, you realize by placing this together, the front bodice is longer than the back bodice. Yeah. Which is the reason why I explained the other time, if you could remember. My shoulder to waist measurement in the front is quite different from my shoulder to waist measurement at the back. That's the reason why the front bodice is longer than the back bodice, which is the main reason why we take in this bust dart. Why we imputed this bust dart. So as to take in, after taking in this bust dart, you notice that the back and the front bodies will come to the same length. This is it. Can you see that? The back and the front bodies will come to the same length after taking in this bust dart. So this is where mine looks. So it varies from measurement to measurement. That's the way it looks. So this is it for this. And as I said earlier, this basic bodies actually works for different sizes. Yes, it works for different sizes, whether you're size 12, size 16, size 18, and more. The only thing you just have to be doing is just increase and decrease in measurements and you get your desired block or your desired pattern. So this is the way it looks like. It actually works for cutting a bustier pattern and corset pattern as well. Yeah, and you might come to notice that while I was drafting, I did not bother to add zipper allowance, sewing allowance or so yes, that's the way I prefer drafting mine. Whereas for you, while drafting, you might decide to add your 1 inches zipper allowance and other sewing allowance as well while drafting. But for me, while placing on my fabric to cut, I will add all my necessary allowances. I hope you understand. So you might decide to do yours like this or decide to draft everything with your sewing allowance and zipper allowance. So you can see the way it looks. This way mine looks like. This way it looks like the back and the front bodies. So thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so very much for your time and thanks for watching.